All right, guys. What up, guys? It's the kid. 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 It's your main man here. Double H Halfwood, trying to live, trying to stay alive. So you know what, guys? This is going to be a routine. This is going to be a routine moving forward, because I want to try to differentiate the Saturday team with the Sunday team. So Saturday will always be like topics, reviews, and really footballing news. The similar thing will be on Sunday, but I think also as well, what I want to do for the Sunday, guys, is every single week we will do a top 5. So we'll do a top 5 of something. So that's going to be a routine moving forward with the Sunday team. So obviously, I picked one, which was Central, the defenders. But again, I think maybe afterwards, email me, send me a message. You know the website's halfoffootballhot.com. If there are any suggestions of what you guys want to see for a top 5 or anything, email your boy. Mail your boy. Say what up to your boy. But I bring better 3 smacks. Okay. So how are we gonna do this? Yeah. So this is going to be central defenders. Now let me just explain this. So everyone has a list. I told guys about this hours before. So guys have had hours to put up their list. Now let me just tell you how I made my list. This is of the central defenders I have seen. So that's my thing. This is of the central defenders that I have seen. Who is it? Wait, who is double A? Who is this?
It's me, Abdullah.
Double A.
Oh my God! Wow, but I have a cousin now. Now I finally have a cousin. Nice one. All right. Okay.
Double A.
So basically, so this is how we're gonna do it, man. Sorry, I was about to say. Sorry, but it's these. Sorry. So, thank you guys. Thank you. So basically, how we're gonna do it. I did my list based on defenders that I have seen play. Now, you can do it based on guys you don't do play and everything, but that was just how I did my list. So if you see, hey, how come you didn't pick that dude? These are dudes who I have watched play and I've watched play extensively. Remember, guys, this is your personal list. It is your personal list. So, sorry. So you don't have to explain yourself and say, oh, how can you? This is your list. However you do your list, however you do your list. So you don't really need anyone to sort of like say, oh no, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? So let's just go around the room then. So for all of you guys out there, what went into you putting your top 5 list? So for Montal, what was your criteria when you were doing your top 5 list?
For me, bro, I mean his like a role in the team, his contribution for winning the tournaments with the team, and how good of defender he was, clutch moments, okay, how good he adapted the game, for example, in different system as well. Like, that could be one of my reasons. And lastly, most important thing, was he leader? What did he elevated, by like his partners or defenders, by his presence, for example. You understand that? For example, there's so many defenders, if they don't play, most probably team lose. For example, when Dijk didn't play against Bayern Munich last season, first leg at Anfield, still Liverpool didn't lose that. Okay, they were missing his presence overall, but like not much, Like, for example, if Chiellini missed the game, Juventus are in big trouble, and they lost to Ajax, if you remember. So your presence and how much you can elevate your defensive performance with like by your leadership quality and clutch performances, and how good of tackler you are, how you understand the game, can you read the game, and yeah, so that's overall. Yeah.
Okay. Red. So Red, what was your criteria going into this?
For me, like so what I did with my list, I chose recent defenders. I didn't want to go like all time. I'm trying to stick to the 21st century, somewhere from from the 20th century onwards, with some exception with some 90s legends, because some of them obviously played in our era. So I went based off that. I took into account just overall like solid performances, team like with some legendary defensive teams like where they like what Mutaha said, like clutch moments, whether it's goals, like because I do like a defender that can score goals, even though it's not his priority main job. But overall, just I went mostly based off of ability though, like defenders that I've always just was like.
Okay. Double A. How did you go about doing your look, that's your name, man. So we're gonna call you Double A, man. So Double A, how did you go around about picking your top 5 list for defenders?
You remember my top 5 list best defender? The one I've seen. I'll go with, let me say Sergio Ramos.
No,
Because
no.
It's
Double
not
A.
defender.
Like,
Center back.
No, tell me your criteria. What was your criteria when you were making this list? So what did you do this based on how many? I mean, how good their tackling is, how much they've won, how good they are at the stop. So
Abdullah, it's not top 5 defenders. Top 5 center backs.
yeah, centre backs.
center backs. I'll go. In terms of center back, I'll go with Cellini.
No. Double A.
Give it criteria, bro. Give it criteria.
Double A.
It's a center back.
No. Look, Abdullahi, you're not telling me your list now.
What a good man.
You're telling me what was your criteria? What did you put? What did you think about when you were making this list? So did you do it based on what they've won title-wise, or did you do it based on how good they are as defenders?
Okay, let me put it in terms of title one. Okay, I'll go with title one before going to ability. So if I go with title one.
Oh no! Don't tell me your list yet. So basically, you went with title. Okay.
Yeah.
So you went with title. Okay, no. Abdullahi, bro. We'll come back to your list. We'll come back to your list. You're not telling me your list now, so you're going with titles. So hands up. What was your criteria when you were making your list, man?
My criteria, it's all time, and what I'll be going off is, first of all, leadership, because for center back it's very important to have leadership. Second of all, I'll be going with tackling, obviously, like the skill of the tackle, how clean your tackles were, timing of the tackle. And third of all, positioning, extremely important for center back. And then consistency and big games, obviously. So yeah, that's my criteria.
Okay. So without further ado, I think that we can ride ahead with the first one here. So remember, guys, let me just be clear here. When I was doing my list, this was based on defenders I have seen. So Beckenbauer isn't going to be on my list. Baresi isn't going to be on my list because
my God.
I remember, look, this is just me. So whatever your criteria is, my criteria was defenders that I have seen and how good they were at defending. How good they were at defending, and also how they elevated their defensive play with regards to how good they were as footballers. So their footballing skill mixed in with their defending as well. So remember, guys, this is your subjective list. So this is your subjective list of what you view. So there is no right or wrong answer, but I just wanted to see where guys lie here. Just Beston, thank you for the super chat. They must be World Cup winners, so no World Cup your bombs. No. This isn't a World Cup thing. This isn't a World Cup thing.
It's not greatest, guys.
This is purely an ability thing, because now if we're doing a greatness thing, then okay, that's a whole different ball of wax. This is just a ability thing. So let me ride through with mine right now. This is a guy that many of you guys know. Many of you guys know this dude. So Double H's number 5 is. Oh, what's it? Sorry. Sorry. That's okay. Let me get the.
Mr. John.
There we go. That is my number 5. John Terry. Look, he may be a racist. He may be an adulterer. He may be a fool. He may be from PNP. But this isn't about where his racial things are. This is purely about his skill as a defender. John Terry is an extremely, extremely good defender. And I just think John Terry at his peak was an absolutely phenomenal defender in terms of, because remember, he didn't have much speed. So what he didn't have in speed, he made up in incredibly good positioning and incredibly good reading of the game. And he was a very, very tough defender to get past. See, I'm always looking at when guys were at their peak. When John Terry was at their peak, forget John Terry the man. John Terry the man may be just focusing on his defensive skill. This dude was a tough defender, because I always say to myself that how hard does the attacker find it to even find any space or any yards of space against him? And John Terry at his very best, bro, it's almost impossible to get past this flipping dude, man. Because he does have the physicality, he does have the strength, so he's strong as well, he's tough as well. But beyond that, he was also a damn good tackler, but very ferocious. But his reading on the game was key. Because if you're slow, to be at the very top of a defender, your reading has to be tops. Because many defenders, let's say like a Varane, he gets away with a lot of mistakes with regards to reading on the game. But he can get away with it because he's so quick. But for a John Terry, if he makes a mistake, he's screwed, because he doesn't have the speed of a Rafael Varane. So you have to really admire how he's able to be in the right place at the right time. And there's a funny video on YouTube. I don't know where the match is from, where he's trying to block a ball. This guy does like a dolphin dive with his head to try and block it. It's one of the funniest things that you've ever seen. So yeah, my number 5 is captain, leader, legend, racist, and adulterer, Mr. Jonathan Jeremiah Terryman. So, so I think we are with Muntaha now. So, Mr. Muntaha, please, without further ado, give us your number 5.
Okay. So for me, my number 5, like, on the base of ability, like based upon tackling in one attempt. He doesn't need to be, like I haven't seen him, this guy, miss tackle, like can't remember when was the time he did. Might be 2,000 euros against France, Thierry Henry. I mean, yeah, okay, but aside from that, nah. This guy, his name is Nesta. He's the greatest and the best tackler ever in the history of football.
Oh, you're great with Nesta.
With
Nesta.
Yeah, Nesta's mind. I mean, he can see, what kind of through ball, the playmaker is about to make. Yes. And his interception, I mean, I don't think so anybody can read that far. For example, I mean, you like attacker or playmaker, he might think, okay, let me take off ball movement this way. Nesta knows his positioning, his marking, reading of game, and tackling. I mean, there's no competition in world football in the history, I believe, no one. So this guy, he came time and time clutch at the age of 37.
I'm now very intrigued to see the 4 guys you have ahead of
him.
Yeah,
I'm intrigued to see the 4 guys you have ahead of this dude.
Yeah. And Nesta for me is like one of the best, I've seen from a pure defending masterclass. Aside from not from playmaking, he's not a complete center back, but he's a complete defender. Yeah. So
why you putting him so low, man? Oh my god.
I mean, top 5, bro.
No.
Best ever.
Have your go. All right. Mr. Red, who is your number 5?
Well, my number 5 was John Terry, but you already chose John Terry, so I'm going to change it up a little bit. I'm going to go for the.
You don't have to. You don't have to. No. If that was your number 5, that was your number 5.
Because then everyone's going to change everything.
But like I honestly, I just remembered it because because my number 5 was between him and another player. But because you said John Terry, I'm gonna put the other player because he was not like it was one of I edged John Terry, but
no. The thing though is that I don't want people changing their list because we have similar names. It's everyone's list because remember we didn't confer before we did this, so we did our lists in confidence. So if John Terry was in this,
I will change this one, AH, just because, like I said, this because for me when I was making it, the hardest was number 5 because it was between him and it was John Terry and the player that I want to name, which is Lucio, the Brazilian defender.
Whoa, red.
Let's see.
Red. You see, I thought you were going to name Red. Are you trying to tell me that Lucio is a better defender than John Terry?
No. That's why I put John Terry ahead of it. But it was very close. Because
My
HH, like the thing is, Lucio, like people forget Lucio for his days with Bayern Munich. They forget his stint at Inter Milan. They forget his success with Brazil. He was a very consistent defender. Lucio was consistent from 2001 up until 2012. He was amongst the best center backs in the world.
No, Red. Let's keep it real. Lucio was only highly regarded in that treble-winning season. I don't think he was never seen as the best defender in the world for like 5 years.
2002 World Cup. He was huge in the 2002 World Cup. He was huge in 2006. He was also what's called for Bayern Munich.
Was that the same World Cup where his mistake led to Michael Owen scoring the first goal? It was his mistake.
Well, yeah, no, of course, but I can show you John Terry mistakes as well. Yeah. No defender is perfect. But the thing is about Lucio, why I like his style of play, it's because he's a towering figure, and also he was very, very quick. He was 6'2". Pretty much, I remember he would intercept pretty much every cross, every like long ball.
Okay. So Red, who are you going with? Is it Lucio or Terry for your number 5? What is your final answer?
No, Terry. Terry's the better defender.
Okay.
Yeah, John Terry's the better defender. So for number 5, I did want to say Lucio, but number 5, it's got to go for John Terry. Just to be honest with you, I think just as a pure intelligence from a defender, he was some of the best. His reading of the game, not to mention like the people like his partnership with Carvalho and like 05 and 06 Chelsea team, he was a rock. Like John Terry, for me personally, I honestly think, like just based off eye test, like obviously he doesn't have the resume to back this up, but he was one of the best defenders I've ever seen in my life. Like people say Van Dijk, and people talk about like Van Dijk's like insane defensive season last season. They honestly need to go and educate themselves on John Terry and what he did in prior. Now I know I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this because people love Van Dijk, but like John Terry was a different animal.
Okay. Abdullahi, who is your number 5?
HH, my number 5. I'm gonna go with Fabio Cannavaro.
Ooh,
what? 5?
Yeah, Fabio Cannavaro, because like when you talk about defender in terms of ball on the hair, very like the way he tackles and the way he reads games. Man, I'm gonna go with Fabio Cannavaro. It's immense. It's true that John Terry is kind of very good defender in terms of building leadership skills and everything, but I'm still gonna go with Fabio Cannavaro because Cannavaro, in terms of defending ability, skills, and leadership skill, he has that ability as a defender. So I'm gonna go with Fabio Cannavaro.
Wow, you see, similar to Muntaha, now I'm not very interested to see the 4 people you're naming ahead of Mr. Fabio Cannavaro. But okay, because look, I said again, let's just see the guys that you put ahead. So before I come to Hazem, Beston says, excuse me? Pepe.
Pepe?
Oh my god.
Wait, Beston, are you smoking Scontorica?
Oh my god.
What?
AJ, can we actually have a discussion about this real quick?
Red, please, I beg you, please, Red, don't even try and explain Pepe in a top 5. I beg you, please don't.
Can I ask you a question? We can just ask you one question for you, because you don't give Ronaldo any credit for the Euros 2016, but Pepe in the final, he was man of the match, and like he could arguably say that he won them that final with his defensive performance.
Okay, no, Red, that's fine. Is that enough for him to be the 5th best defender of all time?
I mean, all time, you're right. No, I'm talking about, but like in this century, like 2020 from 2000 to 2020, possibly yes, because like Pepe, aside from his resume, he's gone back-to-back 100-point season. He won trophies for his country. He's been a solid player for like
solid. You just said the word solid. Solid isn't 5th best of all time. Solid is solid. So, all right, Mr. Hazem. Then let me just real quick. Hold up. So, who is your number 5, Mr. Hazem?
Yeah, so maybe you guys didn't put this one, but I'm going to the 80s. So, yeah, I have to go to the 80s, man. I'm sorry if we're doing all time. Yeah, sorry. But yeah,
let's do a cut off. Don't go to the 30s or the 1800s. Let's just
No,
keep
I
it.
said 80s. I said 80s.
Just keep it
Come
in
on,
the
man.
20th century. Just keep it in the
Bro,
20th
it's in your
century.
title. It's all time. So why didn't you put the title, the greatest defenders of the 20th century?
Hazem, who's your number 5? Who's your number 5?
My number 5, unfortunately, it's a Juventus player, but I have to go with him. It's Hirea. Gaetano Scirea, and he is Juventus' best defender of all time. And man, this guy is unbelievable because I know many people haven't heard of him, but he literally gave Juventus their first Champions League. And his performances in the Serie A are insane. Like
Wait. How do you spell this dude's name?
Scirea.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And in the 80s, Juventus' dominance in the Serie A was literally largely due to him. And their defense was crucial in that. Like in 85-86, like they only conceded 17 goals. And in that season, Maradona's Napoli was coming up. And he literally was able to defeat Maradona's Napoli simply by defensive play. And even though I know he, in the game against Napoli, he conceded against Maradona, but that was it was a deflection. So like overall in the whole season, the defensive performance was unbelievable. And also, man, what's it called? In the 85 CL, he was so crucial for Juventus, man. In their first CL, he was the captain, and he kept a clean sheet in the semi-final and the final, man. And the performances were insane. And like in the final against Liverpool's, it was a great team. They were holding champions, and against Ian Rush, he kept a clean sheet, and he was the leader of the defense. So also World Cup 1982, he gave Italy that World Cup, man. So that performance in the World Cup was insane.
Paulo Rossi as well. Don't sleep on Paulo.
Yeah, Paulo Rossi. I know he had a great performance. But also his performance in the semi-final against Poland, when they kept a clean sheet, and that Poland team was the best Poland team ever. And also in the final against West Germany, he kept Rummenigge quiet completely, man. And yeah, man. So his performances were great, man. His tackling was insane. He has the type of slide tackle that he was so clean that he almost never fouled. He never got a red card in his career as well. And yeah, bro, he was an amazing defender, and he gave Juventus their first Champions League, and Italy that World Cup. He was crucial in him and Paolo Rossi. So yeah, man, great man, and leadership as well. So yeah.
Okay, that's fair. All right, so I think FG just sort of disappeared. So let's now. We're now getting slightly interesting right now. Let's now go to the number 4. So
Champions League and Inter.
So actually, what is my number 4? So now, this is where it gets cool right now. And some will say he's too low. But I am going to defend my pick for this and say that this is the right one for this dude. And again, you cannot have a list without having this dude on the list, because this guy has to be in everyone's top list. And my number 4 is Fabio Cannavaro. Again, just maybe add upon what others have said. 2006 World Cup, 06 World Cup. Even before that, he was still a very good defender. And I think what I liked about Cannavaro was, despite his size, he was still very good in the air. And I think people underestimated just how good his jumping was. And similar to John Serra as well, where his deficiency was he was small. So when you're small, going up against tall, physical attackers maybe a Vieri and like a Drogba and so forth, you have to be even more ferocious, even much more tougher to not get bullied around. But I think one of his best assets was his jumping. He was excellent in the air, and he was excellent in dealing with threats from the air. But because again, it takes something to win a Ballon d'Or as a defender. It takes really something to win a Ballon d'Or as a defender, and without Cannavaro, Italy don't win that World Cup. Similar to Portugal and the Euros, without Pepe, Portugal don't win those Euros. Without Cannavaro, they do not win that World Cup, because they were a defensive team and they relied a lot on the defense, specifically in the game against Germany. And I would argue he was man of the match in that semi-final against Germany. So and because and that's what a tournament can do for you. Without that World Cup performance, I don't think he makes top 5. But I think with that World Cup performance, he crystallized himself that if anyone is making a top 5 list, you have to have Fabio Cannavaro in there. You have to have him in there.
Just because of one performance? Come on, man.
What?
Only one performance? Like, where was the consistency in the career?
Oh, no. That's, you didn't hear what I said. That's crystallized it. For me, even without that World Cup, he was always a very good defender. You see, before 06, I was like, no, this, him, Nesta, Maldini, they were part of that, conglomerate. Even what's it called in 2000, I was like, no, this guy was, because I think that's when I first really knew of him was from Euro 2000. I was like, wow, this is now the new generation of Italian defenders coming through. But the thing was, 06 is similar to, it is eerily similar to Zidane. In that Champions League campaign, he was trash for Juventus. I remember how he got his ass kicked by Arsenal and Henry in the Champions League game. I was like, you know what's Cannavaro, this guy's done. Then, boom, came into the flipping World Cup, renewed, and then just refound something, because really, 06 he was on the decline, and after that World Cup he was on the decline. His best days were like 2002 was that early part. So the World Cup just sort of icing on the cake, full stop, of like a great like ender with regards to what he had already done in his career. But yeah, Cannavaro, you have to put him in there for sure. So that is my number 4. So Mr. Muntaha, who is your number 4?
Let's see.
Bro, this guy pretty much, invented a term called "thou shall not pass." This guy, this guy. Wait. This guy was known as one of the greatest DM, one of the greatest center back, one of the greatest, or best, I should say best as well, best aerial ability. And what he did with that team in 93 UCL final, I don't think so anybody can have done that. And his name is
94.
Marcel Desailly.
Also 94, bro. 94.
Yeah, 94 as well. And he's the only player. Sorry, not the only player. He won first player ever to win back-to-back Champions League in the modern format. With two different teams, but was the first player.
He won with the team that he beat in the 93.
Yep. This guy is known as for his interceptions. I mean, you can I've seen in 2000 Euros final as well. I watched that complete game, right? I watched complete game, and I every time he pocketed Del Piero, bro, in that final. If you see that in '98 semi-final of the World Cup, bro. I mean, he was pretty much telling Thuram to run in that direction, to close in that way. He's guiding Thuram, on the flank, on the right back. Bro, this guy is a genius in his position, and that's why he deserved a higher ranks than Nesta. Okay, and his performances in defense. Watch that '93 final. Tell me that team was not deserving to win the final. This guy pretty much, carried them in defense. Bro, AC Milan did everything. That's like generational AC Milan team. They did everything, but they couldn't score. On the far post, it was like cross. How this guy won, I don't know. He shouldn't supposed to win that ball, man. I mean, sorry. I think so. He was on drugs or something like that.
No. I said, look, I am a huge Desailly fan, and I think, look, everything is completely right, man. Everything is completely right. All right. So, Red, please, can you give me your number 4?
Yo.
Yep.
My number 4, man. Honestly, I wanted him to be my number 1, but for the sake of objectivity, it's Sergio Ramos. A player that he's number 4 because, look, Sergio Ramos encompasses everything in the modern defender. You have a ball playing center back, physical, rough, win by any means necessary, elite mentality.
Wait. We need to
Had
his red cards.
Bro, wait. I have explanation for the hatred, bro. I have serious explanation for that.
But that's what I was gonna actually talk about. Now, those red cards for a lot of people, they'll be like, well, red cards for defender. It's just because look, the type of player that Ramos is, that mentality that he has, is that he will do anything. Like he'll put his own body on the line to as long as we win, right? He will always, no matter what, like whether it's a rough tackle or anything. A lot of the time, if you look at a lot of his red cards, a lot of them are like second yellows and stuff that he had to go through. Now, just for that is why I put him so low, like only number 4. Otherwise, in every other aspect of the game, Ramos is elite. If Ramos were to play in the 90s, his red card record wouldn't be that bad. It's just in the modern era, they're a bit more lenient, and he's a bit of a rough defender. But like I said, he's the type of player that you would love to have on your team and you would hate to play against, because again, any means necessary type of mentality. And he always gets it done. He's going to be remembered for his accomplishments that he did with the team, his goal in the La Decima in the last minute. He's going to be remembered for his contributions to the Spanish team. And not only that, he's showed immense growth and maturity with age. Like the way he shifted, Mourinho shifted him from right back to center back.
Is this 16 of Ramos' red card were wrongly given? According to whom? Where did he get that?
I don't know about. I'm not going to argue about individually. Like, but I'll tell you this: like, you can look at his last red card that he got last season. I think it was on the first match day against Deportivo La Coruña. He got a first yellow, which wasn't a yellow. And then the second one, it was an aerial duel, and he won the ball, and they gave him a second yellow for that for no reason. In 17-18, that wasn't the last season. Sorry, 17-18, because I remember the first 2 match days, Marcelo got a red, Ramos got a red. And then Ronaldo had a 5-game ban, so we couldn't play with our starting 11 till like October. But that was his last red card, and that was BS. Like aside from that, like a lot of his card record too. Usually in the group stage, the teams they pick up intentional yellows or reds, so they can go into the knockout stages with a fresh clean sheet. So a lot of them would be tactical cards as well, to sort of like make sure that he goes in with a fresh sheet. So that's why I don't want to criticize too much over it. He's still a top 5 defender in the past 20 years, easily, and he is going in an all-time list once he retires. But because of those cards,
I mean, well, look, as I said, I don't want to reveal my list. So all I will say is, let's just see whether Ramos is on other people's lists. Okay, so what was the call? Let's just do this. So, Mr. Abdullahi, can you please give us your number 4?
This may be a controversy to everybody.
Oh God! Wait, chill. Double A. Just relax, chill. Because you're the same guy that puts De Bruyne in your top 5.
Yeah, also. This may be a controversy.
No. Just because if I hear David Luiz, Mustafi,
no way.
Christensen, then I'm like, I think you're gonna have
There's
to
no
be
way.
suspended from this hangout.
No way.
So Abdullahi, think.
Bring back Vidicor.
Shush, I'll just look. Look, Abdullahi, just think long and hard. Now tell me.
Okay, my number 4. I said it may be controversy, but people have to believe. I'm gonna still put him in beside Sergio Ramos. His name is Carlos Puyol.
Oh my god!
Bro. Puyol is not even the best defender in Barcelona history.
No. Carlos Puyol.
Oh my god!
No. Carlos Puyol for me. People say Sergio Ramos. It was Carlos Puyol. What is this for that Barcelona team and Spain? We have to just put him in top 5 at the moment. Yes, because it's kind of his versatility as a defender. He can play like as a right back, can also play as a central back too. If you look at those Spain when they won the Euro and the World Cup, Carlos Puyol and Sergio Ramos were the best defender in those years when they won the World Cup and the Euro. So with those 2 defenders in that Spain team, it's absolutely just 0 for them. For me, Carlos Puyol. For me, when you put out Sergio Ramos, you need to put in Carlos Puyol too, because he has all the attributes a defender could have. For me, I would say it's one of the, after Sergio Ramos, I would say it's one of the best defender in the world at the moment. When you take a Sergio Ramos.
So let me get this straight. So, in your opinion, Carlos Puyol is the 4th best central defender of all time?
Yeah, for me.
Okay. No. Okay, cool. I say, look, this is a subjective list. That's cool. That's cool. So before I come to Hazem,
Well, where do you rank Sergio Ramos?
I don't know why.
Where do you rank him?
Send the easy, relax, chill. Congrats, Christina, the first football billionaire. Mr. Asel Abdullah, I wish Cristiano good luck. I wish him congrats, and I would hope that he dashes me 20 million of that 1 billion. Yeah. So, Hazem, wait up, just chill. Hazem, wait.
Don't worry.
Hazem, can we please have your number 4, please?
Yeah, so my number 4, I think it's not going to be a surprise, and it's I've seen some people in the comments disrespecting him. It's the person in my profile picture or in my Hangout picture. It's called Maldini, Mr. Maldini.
See, wait. Before you go, I have a question. I have a question for you. Let me just get the picture going, because my thing is this: the list is central defenders.
Yes.
Now, my thing is that he did, for a portion, play something in central defense, but he was mostly known as playing on the flank.
Yeah.
So, how much did he really play at central defense to be one of the best central defenders of all time?
HH, bro. He literally won 3 Champions Leagues as a center back. Like, come on, man. Like,
That's true.
Yeah, bro. As a center back, he literally, I think, he had 2 of his best performances in his career as a center back. In for example, 1994 Champions League final, when in the final Baresi was injured, Costa Curta was injured. Like,
your boy Sergio says that he's not a centre back.
Who?
Sergio says.
Bro, he was. Are you guys? Oh my god.
But there's an explanation for that. One second, bro. But you can argue that at that time, I mean, Maldini's role is more defensive. You know, he's more defensive responsible than attacking. He used to do attacking. Don't get me wrong, but his position is like more centralized as a center back, as a left center back. You can say left center back.
But my thing is that, which is why I wanted it to be very strict, because if your position on the field is strictly in the sense of defense, that is a particular role as opposed to a flank defender. Even if you're a flank defender that makes more sense, these are still 2 very, very different disciplines on a football pitch.
Let me ask you a question. Out of his 5 Champions Leagues, how many Champions Leagues did he win as a left back?
No, you have to tell me. You're the expert.
No, I already told you, but you can answer it as well.
No. You tell me, because you're the.
Why are you saying he's a left back if you don't know what you're talking about? Oh my man! Like, these guys, they're saying he's a left back when he literally had his best performances and won 3 Champions League as a center back. As a center back, not a center defensive left back.
Check this.
Bro. Check 1994.
I will check this.
Check.
I'm not sure. I'll check. I will check.
Because you guys, I think you don't know what you're talking about. Check the 1994 Champions League final. He was literally playing next to Gali as center back. Why? Because Costa Curta and Baresi were injured. He literally had to carry that defense. He was center back, and that 1994 final performance was one of his best performances and best defensive performances ever. He was coming up against the Barcelona dream team of Romario and Stoichkov, who were literally destroying everyone, and he literally put up a clean sheet, and he literally pocketed Romario and Stoichkov as center back. And in that year, he came 3rd in the Ballon d'Or as a center back. Because of his center back performance, he came third in the Ballon d'Or. Also in the 94 World Cup, although he was playing left back, he also played several games as center back. Even against Nigeria, you should know this, HH. He played as center back.
It's versatile.
Yeah, so yeah, he.
Just real quick, just best, and I hope you're not drinking alcohol by saying Kiki has an argument to be number 1 and go to defender. You see, best, and see, now that's so you're trolling. Because if you're not trolling, then I think you may have knocked your head when you're a baby or a child.
Maybe this is like
Let's see.
Finish your point. Hazard.
Also, 2003 Champions League. In the final, it was him and Nesta as center back. Like that was also, I think that was like his best performance ever against Juventus when he kept a clean sheet and he was man of the match, and he literally pocketed the whole Juventus team. And in that performance, that was his best performance as center back, and he showed everything: tackling, positioning, understanding, and he even outplayed Nesta as center back. But yeah, bro. So like he had so many great moments as center back, and
So what's because I think Musab is a Syria to say that Baresi played ahead of him, Costa
Where?
Curta played ahead of him.
bro,
Where?
when he was young, when I told you when Baresi and Costa Curta got injured, he literally he replaced them and put up a great performance, and he kept the clean sheet. So yes, they played ahead of him, and Baresi. That's why Baresi, of course, is a better center back than him.
But he said that he bottled a 3-0 lead.
Oh, okay, great, bro. When he was 800 years old. So what, man? Come on, man. Even
Okay,
and he got
no. Look,
he
I
got
said,
revenge in 2007.
this is cool. I mean, no, look again. All right, it's fair. So
2007 Champions League, he also had a great performance.
okay, so we're now getting it. This is now where things get interesting right now. Number 3. My number 3 is what's one? Okay, again, you have to, a list isn't complete without having this dude on this list. It's not complete without having a dude on this list, and I think nobody should pretty much say anything. Nesta.
Ooh.
And I think people always say Nesta Cannavaro, and people say, well, Cannavaro and Materazzi, they led Italy to that World Cup and everything. If Nesta and Cannavaro were in there, no one is scoring, because if Nesta played, Nesta doesn't make that mistake that Materazzi made for the penalty. Like Nesta was a defender to the core, and he was. See, Cannavaro was damn good. Nesta was a superior defender, which is why Cannavaro and Italy panicked when he got injured in that game against America. So again, everyone has seen it, and I think we've seen it on Twitter. That tackle he did on Messi, like the guy was just like he represented. Obviously, you could talk about Baresi, you could talk about so many guys from the past that Italy have had, but I think Nesta is definitely in that pantheon of Italians making defending an art. In terms of reading the game, tackling, but not just tackling and just rash tackling, like get stuck in. No, tackling with winning the ball cleanly without making a foul, and that was just what Nesta was about, because when you watched him, it was like, oh man, I want to be a defender. Like defending is a particular kind of it's a particular discipline because it's very hard. Trust me, I've played central defense and it's effing hard. And so just watching how Nesta was able to operate against top, because trust me, Nesta was coming from the era of demonic attackers and things, and he held his own, man. So
how is he number 3 only? Come on, man. And you're saying it's only 20th century, right?
wait, what do you mean? What?
How is Nesta only number 3? Everyone's saying in the comments.
Oh, why he should be higher?
Yeah, I think because he said it's only 21st century, right, or something.
No. Look, this is the beauty of the top 5. You will see my number 2, and I know people will be angry. Well, F you, because you'll see my number 2. Wow. So it says that if Ramos played in his prime in the 90s, he'll be considered the undisputed GOAT defender.
No,
Ramos is better than Beckenbauer. Sorry,
These people, oh my God, get this guy.
No, sorry.
No, but bro, you can make an argument for that.
Oh my God.
Why not? You cannot make an argument for that.
No. Ramos is a decent. Ramos isn't sniffing or any of the.
But we are not talking about a specific defending skill. We're talking about overall centre back, right? Centre back position.
Yeah.
So I mean, I have better names than Nesta as an overall better centre back, not a defender.
Okay, no. We'll see. Let's keep going. So, Muntaha, you're up. Muntaha, who is your number 3? Who is your number
Okay.
3, Muntaha?
So for me, number 3, this guy has the only player in the history of football to reach 8 UCL finals. This guy is known as a Jesus Christ of football or defense. This guy is known as for his leadership quality, and his number has been retired by that club. Number 3.
Uh-oh.
Now you know I'm talking about which player. Yeah.
So who is it? Who?
It's called Godini, bro.
Thank you, Mutar. Thank
you. Yeah, bro. And this guy for me.
Wait. What's the name?
Number 3. Who do you think?
Yeah, Godini, bro. Godini, bro.
Maldini.
Oh, Maldini.
Who else retired number 3? Come on.
Bro. And one more thing. People are talking about, like, for example, H is criticizing Maldini for playing as a left back, right?
My God.
My brother HH, you are like master of this channel, bro. You've been doing this thing. You've been watching more football than us, my love. Come on,
my love,
bro. You know that, bro. Exactly. Football transformed a lot for fullbacks after 2006, 2005. Like Ashley Coles and all these guys. They have like changed a lot as a fullback. The fullback position has been more into attacking this time. What we are watching football now. That's why it's called modern football. But if you see Maldini position, put him anywhere, okay? Back in that time, you need to be a great defender as a fullback. We have Thuram as a fullback, great defender. 80% of your responsibility is defending, not attacking. Okay?
No, top 5 center backs.
No, he's center back as well. Yeah, for me, he's never a fullback. For me, when you are like say a fullback in his position, no, he was a center back. He was a flank center back. 50% of his game he played as a flank center back, and 50% of the game he played as a middle center back.
True. Exactly.
And like people like Wennestor Roy, when they are going to Oxford Union and talking about Maldini's performances, they have to play. He said like he didn't play against like any kind of defender, that kind of defender, bro. Maldini is known as a father, Son, Father, Holy Spirit, so his father. Yeah. So bro, do I have to say anything, bro? The greatest, arguably the greatest center back or greatest defender ever. He's complete. He's more versatile, and his game reading as well, his marking as well. He's pretty much good in anything, as a center back you want. Aerial abilities. Fitness level. Physicality if you want, he can give you that as well. This guy is undisputed in that position, so that's why he have to be. It's mandatory to be top 3. HH. I want to see your top 3, bro. HH.
Yeah.
And how you just
you'll see. It's coming.
Yeah.
What's it called? Mr. Red, please give us your number 3. Red. Coming into red. Give us your number 3. All right, I think red is away. Abdullahi, please give us your number 3. Abdullahi.
HH, this may be controversial, but for me, I don't know why you don't put him in your top 3 and top 2. Maybe you are being a little bit racist, or you don't even like him. You don't like him.
Okay. Who is it? Just tell me who is your number 3.
Don't like him at all, because like even if I not started watching football like maybe like in the early 2000s and everything, but I still know about this guy. Like you have to put him in your top 2 or top 3. Maldini. There's no one in this world that don't even know Maldini who doesn't rate him high. Is that because it's versatile? He has everything in the defender.
Okay. So who's your number 3?
Maldini.
Okay.
Why you don't put him in your list? Because for me, you're gonna be telling me those defenders you're gonna be mentioning are better than Maldini. This guy, he can play central as a number 5, as a number 6. He can also play as a DM. When he requires to play, he plays as a DM. It's so good. So I don't know why you are not rating him high. This guy is. When you are talking about a defender, if this guy is playing in this modern era of football, man, I'm gonna call him a coach. because he's that good. He's just that good. I'm
Wow.
gonna put the good. Yeah. People are saying Sergio Ramos. If we are playing in the modern football at the moment, I'm gonna put Maldini there because he's that good. He has every attribute of a defender. Haha, he has everything. I'm not being biased. When you know a defender is good, you have to rate him high, man. I don't know. When you're saying top 5, he has to be in number 3 or number 2. Maldini is there.
Okay, all right. Okay, fair enough, man. Hazem, who's your number 3?
Okay, man. My number 3. Okay, this is gonna be interesting. This guy, he's already been mentioned, but he is, as a center back, I think very few can go ahead of him, and he was playing next to Maldini as well. And it is Mr. Nesta, yes, Alessandro Nesta. And Nesta, it's like everyone remembers his Milan career, but like my God, at Lazio as well, he was insane. Like this guy at Lazio in the 99-2000 Serie A. Oh my God! Like Lazio won their second Serie A ever, I think, in that season, and it was literally a defensive masterclass. It was like Nesta was literally, I think, the best player in that Lazio team, and they conceded the least goals in the league. And even that year, he won Defender of the Year. So Nesta was already like, he was known as a top class defender in that year. And like if you look at his tackles at Lazio, he was already showing his elegancy, his ability to play with the ball. Like he was already the perfect defender at Lazio. And then he moves to Milan, and like the rest is history, man. In Milan, he was amazing. He was consistent as well, other than his injuries, the injuries, unfortunately. But he was very consistent when he was playing. 2003 Champions League, as you mentioned, with Maldini. Like I know Maldini was the star in the final, but he also had a great performance in the final in 2003. And like 2004 Scudetto also was great. Even 2005 Champions League, we didn't win, and it was a horrible final. But like in the quarterfinal against Inter, he had great performances. And 2007 Champions League, one of his best games, final against Liverpool. Like he made so many crucial tackles in those, and the style of tackles, and yeah. And man, like if you want to talk about elevating your partner, he literally elevated Thiago Silva. He formed at that time, I think it was the best defensive partnership in the world at one point when it was him and Thiago Silva, and he was very old at that time. And in 2010-11 Serie A, he won the Serie A because of him and Thiago Silva, one of the main reasons. And he was in Team of the Year in that year as well. And yeah, man. So Nesta is undoubtedly, and like one of the greatest tackles ever against Messi in that 2012 when he was already an old man. So, and even internationally, like many people, they say, "Oh, 2006 he got injured." I don't know what, but like even like Euro 2000, he proved himself. To be honest, he was the team of the tournament. He had many great games against Romania, for example. He had some great tackles and kept some clean sheets. So yeah, man, it has to be top 3 as center back, and this is why I put him ahead of Maldini as center back. For me, he was a better center back. Even though he just edged it over Maldini, it was very close. But as a center back, he was slightly better. Yeah, so that's why.
Okay. So, guys, we're now getting to where it now gets really interesting. Now, this is now where it gets really interesting. And this is now where we're not going to have a discussion. This is now where we will now talk. This is now where we'll now talk. My number 2, and it is a name that nobody has mentioned. Remember, guys, this is my list. It's my list. My list.
Let's see.
It is my list, and you don't need to know anything. It is my list. This is my number 2. My number 2 defender is boom.
Okay.
Rio Ferdinand.
Oh my God!
Rio Ferdinand.
All time.
Now you see, I didn't want to spoil things for you.
Wait. Hey, bro, wait. So you rank this guy or Desai and all these other guys?
Maldini is.
Or Maldini, or Nesta, or Desai?
Yeah.
Oh my God, HJ, bro! I want an explanation for that.
Let me land. Let me land. You see, the thing about Rio Ferdinand is, because I don't want to spell this for you. For me, there's an argument. I actually want to make this like a debate. Best defensive partnership. You can make an argument that one of the best defensive partnerships was John Terry and Rio Ferdinand. England were trash offensively. Hence why they always lost on penalties, because you were never going to score against them, because Rio and Terry were literal walls for those guys. So
Alright.
basically, it required like Dini to pretty much do juju and Rivaldo to do juju to actually score against them, with Seaman pretty much doing his own thing.
You know what's the irony, HH, bro? Both of them didn't qualify for 2008 Euros, man.
The thing about Rio Ferdinand was, in terms of, you see, he had the defensive qualities of a John Terry or a Cannavaro, but he also had the ball playing quality of either a Beckenbauer or a Sergio Ramos. Rio Ferdinand at his peak is what you call a complete modern defender. Great in the air, great on the ground, great on the ball, can bring the ball forward, great for footballer, knew how to tackle, knew how to read the game, agile, athletic, is able to move around. He literally had all the tools for, basically, he had every bit of ability to deal with any situation. He could deal with speed, he could deal with strength, he could deal with a guy in the air, he could play in a passing team, he could play in a defensive team. People sleep on how flipping amazing Rio Ferdinand was.
Which attribute makes him better than Nesta, man? What does he have that Nesta didn't have?
He's more athletic. So
Nesta was athletic as well.
Things. He's more athletic, so he can move around more within the central defensive position. He is better at bringing the ball up. So if he's been pressed, he has more composure on the ball to bring the ball up, which is something that Ramos has. So for me, because again, it's like Nesta may have slightly more defensive reading skills, but it is the entire pie. The whole multitude of the different skills that he has in terms of reading, in the air, on the ground, passing, tackling, anticipation, positioning, all those things makes
better all of them.
Because he, as a defensive talent, he's ridiculous. Rio was ridiculous, you know. So for me, Rio Ferdinand, that is my numero two, man. That's my
career-ending statement.
You know, that's my numero two. I say, look, man, I will fully defend this whole thing. So, Monsaha, give us your number two.
Okay, so for me, my number two, I just mentioned, Son and Holy Spirit, which is your, what's his name, Maldini and Nesta, now the father. So, I mean, father is the greatest, right? So you cannot argue with that.
God.
And the father is the one who stepped up in the dark days of AC Milan before Arrigo Sacchi, at the time of Maradona, where he defined how defending is.
HH is high. I'm not high. I'm very, very much. Don't sleep. Sorry, Monta, carry on.
Anyways, it's just like HH, so it doesn't matter, so it's up to them, So number two, this guy is known as for dark days of AC Milan, dark ages, they used to call it, This guy, I mean, he elevated the entire center back, not just center back, the team as well. He's known as for the greatest or the best burst of speed carrying the ball and indirectly penetrating from his own half, from his own box to the opposition box. And his name is Baresi. And what he did in '94 World Cup final. Forget about penalty miss. Forget about the penalty miss. That everybody missed that. Okay, it's nothing new. That performance of a player, I don't think so anybody has ever done it. Can argue for Pelé in 1958, but really, after 20 minutes, Italy. I mean, they gave up. Brazil was all over them. Bro. If this guy wouldn't be there, they're losing at least 5-0. Italy. Yeah. They're losing 5-0. Bro, the tackles, the blocks, the interceptions. Oh, this guy made time and time in that World Cup final, bro. I'm sorry, man. This guy has to be the second greatest defender in the history of the World Cup, bro. I mean, what he did. Ultimately he didn't win, which is penalty shootout. Luck factor was involved. Okay, he missed it, but many big players in the World Cup history, they missed it, right? So I mean, this guy is undisputably number 2 for me as the greatest, as best center back. I mean, he can do everything. And even some people, claim for his loss in 1995, what do you call it, UCL final, which is not up to him. It was up to the Costa Curta and all those guys. They were defending. I mean, they're so good as well, but don't get me wrong. This guy was next level in terms of his defending, his IQ, his intelligence, his positioning. This guy's known as like positioning guard, bro.
Yeah.
So I mean, you cannot I cannot see a pure defender and with the great overall as a center back. You can give me HH like for number 2. Yeah.
Okay. What are we gonna do here? So Abdullahi, give me your number 2.
My number 2, like I kind of listened to one that you guys said. I'm surprised you're choosing Rio Ferdinand as your number 2.
Right. Let me. I want to see your number 2. I want to see your number 2.
Greatest of all time.
Rio Ferdinand. John Terry is even better than Rio Ferdinand.
Wait, Abdullahi, give me your number 2. Don't give me.
I will choose John Terry ahead of Ferdinand.
So who's your number 2?
Yeah. My number 2 at the moment right now. I don't know where you are choosing your list. I don't know. Maybe you hate players, or maybe you watch players and maybe based on them, the way they play, or their talent, or ability. I don't even know. Those Baresi, what's called Fabio Cannavaro, Maldini, Nesta. You didn't even put them in your list. You went from Rio Ferdinand.
Oh my God.
Wait, Abdullahi, who is your number 2?
My God, my number 2. You have to read. You have to just put him there. When you're saying GOAT on a GOAT level, greatest of all time, you have to put his name there. His name is there. Sergio King Ramos is my number 2. Yes.
What?
Yes, you have to rate him. Yes.
What do you mean? What?
Ramos left leg. Ramos just his left leg is better than Rio Ferdinand. What the hell? What does he? I'm serious. What has Ferdinand of ability? Ramos left leg, just left leg, his left is better than Rio Ferdinand. Just better because he has. Defender.
Okay. Let me read the super chat. Easy. Shush. So from yesterday's side, it says that Gattuso, Maldini, Cafu, Nesta, Stam was all playing in that final when they lost a 3-goal lead. How in the world can you ever be a top 5 centre back? How? Well,
what does that have to do with anything?
Well, I mean, okay, Abdullahi, back to you.
Most great performances. You know what you're talking about.
I don't know why you didn't put Maldini, Nesta, Ramos in your top 5. You are putting people you need to induct in your class D break academy and Rio Ferdinand. It doesn't even have the attribute of a defender since I started watching football. So you're gonna be telling me Ramos, Maldini, Nesta, those players are not good at all. So Ferdinand ahead of them in terms of number 2. No, I'm sorry. For me, that's like you're being racist ahead of those defenders. You though I've not started watching. I started watching football like early 2000s. But I can say I can't even say I can't say Ferdinand right now is better than Ramos. Ferdinand is better than Maldini. Nesta. Those are king of football. Those are the greatest grandfather of football.
Okay, all right.
Ferdinand born.
Okay. All right. Hazard, who's your number 2?
Yeah, man. So my number 2 is one of the most consistent defenders, but he was more known for his innovation, and he was both for club and country unbelievable, unable to transform them. So I'm gonna go with Franz Beckenbauer, number 2, as a center back, because for me he's the greatest defender of all time.
This interests me because who the heck is
number 1? As a center back, he's going to be number 2, but very, very close to number 1. You could make argument for number 1. But man, Beckenbauer, what can you say, man? This guy for Bayern Munich, he was amazing, man. 3 CLs, man, and he literally invented from the sweeper role. Like when he started as the CDM playmaker, then he made the libero role, and like the way he burst forward on the field, the way he made the passes, the way he's moving everywhere, covering all the positions, insane. 74 World Cup for Germany, man, for West Germany. My goodness, man, that performance was insane, especially in the final when he literally against Cruyff's the Netherlands, he literally took Cruyff's only chance of a World Cup away from him, and he man-marked Cruyff in that game. He literally destroyed the whole total football system.
How good is Cruyff really? But that's a separate.
No, man, Cruyff was insane, man. Come on, he was so good for the Ajax, you know, and like he literally man-marked Cruyff in that game. Cruyff couldn't do anything, and the whole total football system broke down. So yeah, man, this guy's career is undeniable, man. So Beckenbauer as a center back, I'm gonna put him as number 2, but very, very close to number 1. So yeah.
Okay. So guys, we have now reached that moment of truth.
AJ, can I give my 3 and 2 before we get to number 1?
Oh yeah. Wait, where were you, bro?
Well, I'm at work, AJ, so I got busy a little bit, so I had to dip. My bad.
Okay, give us your. I think is this your 3 and your 2? I think, or is it your 4, 3 and 2?
No, it's a 3 and 2.
Okay,
I already gave my 4. Now my 4 was Sergio Ramos. So number 3 for me is Nesta, just based off of pure ability for just tackles. And like, if you actually want to see peak Nesta defensively, just go look at the 2007 Champions League campaign for AC Milan, because people always remember like Kaká's goals and Kaká's attacking contribution, but in that campaign, he shut down both Messi and Ronaldo. Like both of them. Like, and he, like, some of the most beautiful tackles you'll ever see. Like the last ditch tackles in the box, tackles that no defender would really be really afraid to commit, but he would do them, and he'd do it so eloquently and so spot on. It's actually an insane skill. So Nesta for sure, number 3. The only thing I did want to put him higher. The thing is, I couldn't, just based off the fact that like he does have some holes in his career. Like 2006, the fact that he was injured in the knockout stages, that really hurt his claim. But that's it. For me, he's number 3. Now number 2, man, this was really tough, but I'm going to put him in here because I really think that this guy's career is just phenomenal, and that's Ronald Koeman.
Remember, these are central defenders.
No, but Ronald Koeman was a defender. He did play as a midfielder. He was a defender. He was absolutely a defender. It's just that he was so good on the ball that they would deploy him as a midfielder as well. But Koeman was a defender.
But did he play as a central defender?
Yeah, he was a center back. He played as a center back, and he played as a
he was a center back. He scored so many goals.
Yep, and he's sort of like Javi Martinez in Bayern Munich. If you guys remember, he still plays there. But 2013 Javi Martinez, how he was a center back that was made into a DM. Ronald Koeman was sort of along that line. So for me, I would put Koeman just for the sheer amount of goals that he scored, in addition to his ability. Like he's a Barcelona legend. So I hate to name him, but like he was just phenomenal. Just I'm looking at his numbers right now as we speak. Like it's actually wild. This guy has 535 appearances and 193 goals. 193 goals.
That is crazy. That's
better than most strikers. So for me, he's my number 2.
Okay. So we're now into the.
Hey, I just want to add what just Red said. You know, Ronald Koeman. Okay, I just I checked the stats before coming up over here. He scored 101 penalties in his career, and he was the free kick taker as well. So out of the 197 goals he scored,
so how many G's from open play?
90, 80, something like that.
That's still pretty good.
Yeah,
impressive. It's still pretty good.
And by the way, if you're a defender and you're taking the penalties, that says a lot. Like, for example, Ramos has the most Panenka kicks, and he's penalty taker for Madrid. He scored double digits in goals this season based off of penalties. So the fact that he's scoring 101, he had 101 penalties scored, is still phenomenal. For a defender, that's amazing.
Yeah, but still, like, can you give 100% that, open play goal scoring credit to him? Okay, I mean, he's easily top 10 though.
193 goals, 193, and my list is just 2000s on, like this century almost. But I know he's a bit of a cheap because he was in the 90s. But
okay, for me, so let's move to this one.
Already in top 5 as a center back.
What?
Koeman as a center back defensively.
I mean, he was part of some great teams.
Mhm.
Like I would definitely put him top 5. Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Like, and remember, like, I'm not gonna put him like along the lines of Baresi and like all times. And we're talking about Franz Beckenbauer, and like we're not gonna. I'm gonna put him in those. If that's, he's gonna be knocked down to like top 10, probably top 15. But for like current, like I can't really. I was gonna put Jupp Stam, Rio Ferdinand. Like these are some players that I thought about. Maybe Thuram, Abidal. Like you have some great defenders, but like just Koeman's career is just too unique.
Okay.
It's just like,
Okay. All right. Let me just see. So Julian says HH probably. No, I don't. No, I don't. Okay. Yes, I love my country. I love Nigeria and everything. There's only so far I will go and love for my country. Okay. So I know Taribo West isn't in my top 30 or top 40 of defenders of all time. With all praise due to Mr. Taribo West. So it's not time for that whole thing. I know what. I've held this view for quite a while of this guy being the best central defender that I've seen. Remember, guys, this is the best central defender that I have seen. So it's not about anything. It is the best central defender that I have seen. And for me, it is a dude who fully exemplified the defending in the truest sense of the word. And is a dude who 100% fully deserves to be in this whole thing. And that, my number one central defender is
Oh no.
homeboy.
Oh, okay.
So Jeremiah Olusegun Dumbaye Desai. Now, back-to-back Champions Leagues. Wins Champions League for Marseille. The very next season, helps us man to a Champions League, World Cup, Euros, and league title for AC Milan. Two league titles for AC Milan. That's just trophies. For me, with regards to defending, you see, Rio was number 2, but Desai was the refined finishing version of what Rio was in terms of you know how to defend. You can read the game. You're good on the ground. You're good in the air. But for me, Desai did it at a higher and more consistent level than Rio did. And I think the reason why that AC Milan team was so feared and was so money was Desai's presence in that defense. What helped France and gave them a foundation to win the World Cup and the Euros was the presence that Desai had in that defense. Because remember, we always talk about guys in their peak. When Desai came to my beloved Chelsea, he wasn't really at his peak, but at his very best, that is why he was so sought after. That's why AC Milan said, bro, who the heck is this kid? You know, like
Well, how
this
about
is
in the
almost the
94 final, bro?
second coming of Beckenbauer. Because in terms of a guy where, because thinking about central defenders, like good tackle, reading everything, but it is very important that when you have the ball, there's a composure to when you have the ball. You can bring the ball up forward because that just makes your team much more dynamic and much more three-dimensional. Because again, Beckenbauer was the guy that popularized the whole idea of, wait a minute, defenders can play football. Same thing with Arnold and Ronaldo. Wait a minute, strikers can play football. Because once you do that, it adds more depth to your entire team. Rather, defenders kick it and hoof. But Desai, just in terms of his command of the defense, giving instructions of people, composure, understanding, awareness, knowing what is happening 2, 3, 4 steps ahead. Because again, look, man, because it was my era, like 90s. Because again, see, I go with the players that I watched. So that's why there's no Beckenbauer or Baresi here. But Desai was right in my era of when I was all through those 90s. And when I saw this, I was like, no, this guy, in terms of defending and how to defend, I was like, no, this guy defends. So for me, and guys remember, central defender, as a central defender, Desai is my numero uno. So, Muntaha, please.
Yeah.
Please, you're number one. Please.
Yeah. So I named Father, Son, and Holy Spirit,
Oh,
right? So
Wait.
Oh my God.
yeah. So wait. Hatred, bro. So that was my, like top 3, top 4, top 5, So now we need to balance the universe as well, And now we need a Lucifer. He's known as a Lucifer of football.
Lucifer.
Yeah. Lucifer of football. He knows a master of dark arts,
Nah,
He-
nah.
I- bro, wait.
Dark
He-
art.
yeah. Wait. Hatred, bro. He's a born winner.
Think long and hard.
I've thought a lot, bro. I've thought a lot. And I don't like, you know what, Hatred, brother? I don't want to think anymore, because I've thought up a lot. He's born winner. He won 22 trophies out of 23 finals he played in his entire career. No defender, no center back. No, I mean, very few players have that kind of, clinicality of winning the games, winning the trophies, winning everything for his country. Left, right, and center. I don't even need to bring the coach. The most technical player I've ever seen. I mean, as a center back, as a defender, center back, most technical, most agile, most flexible.
Think long and hard. Monta, you have.
That's
I'm giving you one last chance
bro.
in coach and
Nah.
because Monta, let me just remind you, this is the
Go ahead.
best central defender you've seen.
Yes. I'm talking about best.
Wow.
Yeah, best,
Wow,
bro.
wow.
And this player, this player have won not just 3 UCL trophies in his season, in his career. Sorry, he's the only player in the history of football to win back-to-back 3 international trophy ever. So he's like the only player, bro, to win that. And his contribution, do you want me to give his contribution for Spain? Was 2008 final, bro. Was the Michael Ballack shot, which was goal. Was he pocketed Lucas Podolski. He's known as for using his athleticism and skill level and defensive work rate on the right flank. He assisted, he crossed Torres at the bar in 2008 final as well. 2010 against Paraguay, PK was on floor. Puyol ass was lying. Okay, Spain was 1-0 down of PK's mistake penalty. This guy stood up. 2012 against Portugal semi-final, bro. That Portugal team should have won the game. I mean, this guy pocketed Ronaldo in that game. Watch him, bro. 2011 Copa del Rey final. Watch that Copa del Rey. Okay, I know it's Copa del Rey. Who cares? But watch that 2016. Champions League final. The city rivals are were bleeding. Like they were just go for the blood bath to take the revenge. He stopped that revenge, bro. The only defender, bro. Oh my god.
Oh,
His name is Lucifer Ramos, bro. Lucifer
Just say it.
Ramos. Yeah, Lucifer Ramos. People hates him. He knows, bro. People knows him for hating against him, and he likes that. He feeds that kind of hatred. He needs that hatred from you guys, and he's known as for one of the greatest, if not the greatest, tied with Drogba. The most clutch goal ever in the history of UCL final. 10 seconds left, bro. I mean, Real Madrid won after 12 years. He scored brace against Pep Guardiola's Bayern Munich, peak Robin Ribéry, bro, in the second leg with defensive performance, bro. Clean sheet. Oh my god, bro. I mean, how many games do you want me to bring up? How many games, bro? This guy has been the only player after Ronaldo, Messi have been reached 10 times consecutively, FIFA World Player of the Team 10 times consecutively. No other player except Ronaldo, Messi, which is 13 times they reached though. I mean, people are now. I mean, you have to give him the credit. Where is the credit? How can you put Rio Ferdinand into this category? Oh my god, that's insane. Bro,
This is it's everyone's opinion.
Name me a defender who attempted or even scored the bicycle goal. No one.
You did it easy. That was one of the best ever hype ups of a player ever. And I think Musa, if ever I'm going for a job interview, I'm gonna bring you in as my hype man. but the thing though, Musa, is that everything you said is right. I have an issue with the amount of red cards he has gotten.
Yes. I'm coming there.
There are times in which
I'm
Ramos
addressing your answer. I hate you, brother. My love, listen to me. My love. I'm answering your question. I'm addressing it. Don't worry. I'm coming there. Okay? 855 appearances in his career, 115 overall goals, 20 penalties, 45 assists, overall goals plus assists, 160 more than Beckenbauer. I mean, okay, 5-10 assists less than Beckenbauer overall career. Soon we'll break that. Okay. Now let's go for the red card, right? Let's go for that. He's still not the only. Wait.
One quick thing, because you said name me a defender that scored an over. Bro, have you seen Mexis's overhead kick in the Champions League?
No, I mean, but
No,
no, but that's good. I'm not taking anything away. But look at the completeness of Ramos. I'm saying that.
Of course, no. Ramos is. I get what you're saying, but I just wanted to mention like that overhead kick by Mexis is still by one of the greatest overhead kicks, not just by a defender, just period.
HH, can you tell me this season how many red cards and yellow cards has been awarded in Prem?
Or off the top of my head, I have no idea.
No, it's not off the topic. It's related to topic.
What is it?
It's not off the topic. It's related to the topic, bro.
No, he said off the top of his head.
Okay. Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
1,015 yellow cards,
Okay.
38 red cards in Prem. Do you know how much red cards in La Liga, yellow cards in La Liga this season? Referees have disciplinary record.
How many?
420 more yellow cards than Prem. Okay, and 61 more. 32 more red cards than Prem this season, and still we have to play 11 more games, and Prem has to play 9 games. Serie A, right? 1995 when AC Milan won the league, right? In that season, Serie A. Yellow cards, right? For where is it? Yep. Okay. Do you know how many Serie A red cards or yellow cards were awarded in that season? 280 yellow cards were awarded to players in the Serie A in that season, and 80 red cards, which is close. Yeah, I'll give that. Bro, just imagine the defenders and how the football has evolved. Wait, how football has evolved. Bro, I mean, Ramos, if he makes just even a professional foul...
Wait. Says that is how you announce a goal to Montaha.
No, listen. Stats are there, and stats don't lie, bro.
Convince me Ramos is the best
defender. No, I don't want to convince you. I don't want to convince you. No, I hate you. You're getting me wrong. I don't want to convince you, bro. I'm just saying my part,
Okay.
Second, bro, look at how football has transformed since 95, 98, and it's not just Serie A, it's even the Prem and La Liga back in those days, bro. On average, since 2010, there's been 2,000 yellow cards has been awarded a season on average, 2,000 to 1,800 roughly, yeah, in La Liga every season. Okay, in Prem, you know how much is the average, bro? 1,000 max. Do you know how much is the average in Italian Serie A? Look, Italian Serie A now, okay? In today's, in modern generation in Serie A, it's 1,200. Sorry, 1,200, yeah.
Wait, Munta, round up because we have to go to others.
No, I'll just run over here. I mean, the amount of disrespect this guy gets, and this guy feeds on your disrespect, your insults, and this guy undoubtedly, the best center back ever, because he can do everything, whatever you want. Even last season, I want to finish over here. Panenka, who invented the Panenka penalty, right? One of the most difficult techniques in the football.
Center back.
No. Why not? Because football. Football revolutionized, and he revolutionized the position as a box-to-box center back. Why not? I mean, I don't understand.
Okay. It's fair.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's make. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Munsa, it's fair.
Yeah.
All right. So let us now. Blahi, please give us your number one. Blahi?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Give us your number one.
Like the way you describe Sergio Ramos, like I call him Lucifer. I don't even call him Lucifer, I call him different name because that guy is just too good, man.
Abdullahi, give us your number one, please.
I would like to put Ramos as my number one, but I already put him at number two. That's gonna be difficult to choose number one, but I'm gonna be controversial at the moment right now. So it's tough. Maybe can you choose me like last? So maybe I should go last. Maybe I should
Okay. All right. What's it called? Hazem. Who's your number one?
Oh, okay. So my number one, and the reason I didn't put Beckenbauer was, for me, Beckenbauer is the greatest defender of all time. But for me, the person I'm gonna put at number one now is gonna edge it when coming to specifically center back and the best center back of all time. And this guy is literally the father of modern defending, even though many people didn't put him as high as I did. But I'm gonna go with my number one as Maldini's father. So the reason I put Maldini's father is he has to be there. Baresi is the number one best center
Bro,
back.
you're not even saying his name. You have to call him by his son's name, Maldini.
This guy gave birth to Maldini. Okay, so I know men don't give birth, but he somehow gave birth to Maldini, and it was very strange. It was a strange procedure, but this Baresi, oh my god, he is so underrated. And this guy, as a center back, no one rivals him. And the reason for that is several reasons. First, let's look at his consistency. My goodness, this guy was unbelievably consistent. He was literally for 20 years. He was with Milan, and he captained us for so many years. And even before Milan was even being talked about, as Manta mentioned, he literally took us from Serie B to Serie A, and then carried on to produce one of the best Milan teams ever. Actually, the best Milan team ever. And like, oh my god, his consistency was insane. And for example, Invincibles, he's the only team in the history to have 58 games unbeaten because of the defensive partnership of Baresi and Costa Curta. And that defensive partnership is undoubtedly, no one can argue against it, is the best defensive partnership of all time. No one touches that defensive partnership. You can't say anything about that. And my goodness, like in 1988 Serie A, they conceded 14 goals. 14 goals in the 1988 Serie A. And at that time, literally, Maradona was playing in Napoli. And they conceded 14 goals. Oh my god! And my goodness, man, his back-to-back CLs, bro. He was crucial in Milan's back-to-back CLs with the pairing with Costa Curta, and he was literally the leader of that defense, man. And and in the, internationally as well. I know he didn't win World Cup, but what he did internationally for me is like equivalent to winning a World Cup. Because even if we go before 94 World Cup, even if we look at 1990 World Cup, that World Cup, my goodness, he was insane. It was his best World Cup, and it was insane performances. And in the semi-final against Argentina, he literally pocketed Maradona. If you watch that game, he literally was on Maradona. Maradona couldn't move, and that's why he got Sorry, he conceded 2 goals in that whole World Cup. And then 94 World Cup, of course, we know he was injured. But then the final, my goodness, that is the best defensive performance of all time. And this is one of the reasons I'm putting him at a big where no defender or center back had such a center back performance in the history. The way he pocketed Romario and Bebeto, and literally every single time Romario tried to make the run, he made the last ditch tackle, or he didn't let them move, or Bebeto as well. My goodness. And yeah, man, even in the 1990 Champions League, that's for me one of his best club performances when he kept the clean sheet against Benfica. That was insane. And what makes him better than Beckenbauer? For me, he had bigger performances overall. For example, 94 final, 90 semi-final, 90 Champions League final. Second of all, he was more consistent. Over 20 years, he maintained the top level, and he maintained in every aspect. Third of all, he had a season in the league that I think Beckenbauer never really had in terms of pure center back ability in that 88 season when he conceded 14 goals. Also, in terms of attributes, for me, his pace was insane, and I think he had better pace than Beckenbauer, and more physicality and the way he used it. Just look at 94 World Cup as well, the way he used his physicality. And also his leadership was unbelievable. His leadership led the whole defensive line. With Sacchi, Milan played with such a high line that he literally had to play the offside trap all the time. And his leadership was crucial in that, to literally move up and down. And that's why he literally, because of him, Maldini was able to adapt to center back so easily. He literally gave Maldini all the attributes to be able to adapt to center back as if it's nothing. Even, and by the way, I forgot that even the 94 World Cup final, Maldini was playing center back next to him.
Okay. So just round off so we can
Yeah, because Curta was injured as well in that. So overall, man, Baresi for me is the greatest center back of all time and the second greatest defender of all time, because of everything I mentioned. He is very underrated when spoken about, and that's why for me he edges as the first and best defender of all, center back of all time.
Okay. So, Mr. Red, who
Yep.
is your number one defender?
My number one's obvious, the one that I didn't name, and the one that's always given as an example. Whenever you want to have any credible defender, they always use him, and that's Maldini. Maldini is the greatest defender of the modern generation. Because even look at Hazem, that whole speech he was getting about Baresi. His biggest accomplishment is like, oh, he taught Maldini, he trained Maldini. It's always Maldini given in this example. Whenever you want to say, for example, oh, Ramos is the best defender of all time, they always bring up that Maldini quote that he says about Ramos. Whenever they want to give any defender or anything props, they bring up Maldini. Maldini is the bar whenever you want to compare a defender. Yeah. And that for me, like, forget the accomplishments aside, because his consistency is on another level. Like, where you can excuse him. Plus, for me personally, I still think 2002, that was Italy's. Like, they were robbed. Italy and Spain were both robbed in that World Cup, which I felt like Maldini, that was Maldini's last chance to really win one.
Ask you one thing. So
go ahead.
We're saying specifically about center back. So you're saying as center back, Maldini was better center back than Baresi?
The thing is, we're talking about like defenders, right? Like
the best.
Defenders. Even then, I know that for most of his career, he was a fullback. He was a legendary fullback. But like even then, like you have to understand the impact that Maldini had on the defender's role. Like he actually made it cool again. Like let's be honest. Like no, but whenever somebody thinks about defending, it's always Maldini. He's the first name that comes to it. He's whenever you're trying to compare or contrast to two defenders, right? It's always Maldini. He's the bar. He's actually the bar for defending. It would even, let's say, for example, on the timeline, if you're on Twitter, what's the quote that everybody always uses? If I made a tackle, then I've already made a mistake. Name another quote by any other defender.
I'm just about like marketing, you know.
Pardon?
He's just more known among the young people because he's more.
Yeah, but that's why I consider him so great, because like again, like it's one thing to be great at your craft. Like for example,
Red.
Hello.
Red. I think we lost you, bro. Red.
Just want to add one more thing about Maldini, right?
Wait. Let's go to Abdullahi. So Abdullahi
said, bro.
Once we can round this off.
I was.
Can you guys hear me?
Okay. Red.
Hello. Okay. Yeah, sorry. I'm gonna give you like a hip hop analogy. Hazem. There are rappers out there that could rap their asses off. They have the best bars, the best rhyme schemes, the best analogy. They have amazing skills, right? They rap better than anybody else, but they'll never be better than, let's say, for example, a Jay-Z, right? They'll never be better than a Nas, because Nas and Jay-Z are just more well-balanced. They're known, but they also have like they have the bars, they have everything. That's what it is with Maldini. Yes, he may not have the perfect resume, but his career is so well-balanced, and he's so well-known and likable and everything, that he's like the perfect package. It's as close to perfect as he could possibly get. He doesn't have the red card record of Ramos, but he pretty much competes with him in every other aspect aside from the internationally. But he also has 5 champions.
No. But Maldini. Wait. I want to add, bro. I want to add one more. It's really important, bro.
Round all this off right now. So Abdullahi, give us your number one.
Yeah, I really don't know much about this player, but I think with what I've kind of hear from people, kind of where I see it, I kind of hear and I kind of Google a little bit about him to see what kind of player he is as a player. I would say, for instance, Beckenbauer.
Good one.
The German defender. So, being a defender, I would take him as number one, because he has. When you are talking about Maldini, Alessandro Nesta, and everything, you have to take Beckenbauer. In the era of Pelé, in the era of Johan Cruyff and everything, Beckenbauer also. I would say versatility and everything, but when you are talking about the defender, Beckenbauer also, it takes all bosses of a defender. It took all bosses of a defender. He has won a lot of European trophy and everything. For me, my number one, in terms of the way he plays as a defender, I'll go for Franz Beckenbauer.
Okay. So Monsa, you wanted to say something?
Yeah. So I mean, Maldini, he himself said that, like in one of his Instagram live video, that he is the biggest loser in the sport, and he lost 8 semi-finals and like overall, like in his career, which could have made him the great, arguably, like undisputedly the GOAT. So what Red mentioned, Ramos, red card. So I'm just bringing up Maldini's downside. So that's the thing.
But
Okay.
5 million made up for.
So this is something that I think I wanted to bring in with this crew that I brought in with the Saturday crew. So I just wanted just to talk on this. So this, of course, is the Super League. Now, let me just tell you where I stand here. Bayern Munich are on the verge of winning 8 titles in a row. 8. Just think about that. They are on the verge of winning 8 titles in a row. Juventus on the verge of winning 9. So Juve will be close to winning 10 titles in a row. PSG, we already know what happens in the PSG. And the Premier League is probably going to turn into a duopoly. And it's been a duopoly in the La Liga for the last 6, 7, 8 years. No one can compete. What is the excitement looking forward to a La Liga, Serie A, Bundesliga, or Uber Eats season when it's either going to be one team or one or two teams, where no team even has a chance?
No,
Wait. I'll let you go. My argument is at the end of the day, the real excitement is the Champions League. It's the Euros, it's the Nations Cup, it's the World Cup, because that is where everyone is on a similar level. Don't tell me you care about Bayern Munich against flipping Paderborn as opposed to Bayern Munich against Juventus. Don't tell me that you care about flipping Real Madrid against Tapas FC rather than Real Madrid against a Man City. This is still about entertainment and excitement. And the entertainment and excitement is a part of you're being given a challenge. It's a real challenge. It's both teams near in quality. But my thing though is money, cash. You're not going to tell me that Amazon are not looking very closely at the football markets that keeps rising and rising and rising. And they're thinking them on Netflix, we can have our own football league with all of the biggest teams playing every single week. And we can still have you can still have the Champions League if you're contractually obliged to be in the UEFA and the Champions League. You can still have that, but we have our own separate Super League where you will get far more money than what UEFA or any of these guys give you. You're going to get a bigger share because we are a streaming giant. I don't know when it will be, but I really believe that a Super League is bound to happen. All right, Munta, thoughts on the Super League?
Bro, I have 3 questions, like with regards to Super League. First, I believe this is all just a fantasy land, and it's not going to happen. This is all fictional tournament. This is my belief, but still, I have 3 questions. If you want this tournament to happen, right? Number 1 question: who will be the autonomous governing body to control this league? Second, second question.
Okay.
Second question is, okay, how can you bring a rival clubs, for example, likes of United, Liverpool, Barca, Madrid, Milan's versus Juve and all those teams, Inter, Juve and all those teams, right, to the common terms? They will never come to an agreement for the common terms. Thirdly, the most important question out of all, I believe, okay, you can fix the first question, you can resolve the issue for the second question, but how are you going to deal with the third question? And this is more financial aspect of the question, okay? Because what I'm hearing from a Super League, that there will be 20 teams, all 20 big clubs, okay, and the TV rights and revenue, what will be generated, right, will be distributed, the wealth will be distributed like equally among 20 clubs. But if you see in the case of like super giant clubs with the more than 500 million, active fans and viewers, likes of Real, Barca, and Manchester United, okay, and you compare it with the clubs like, for example, Atletico Madrid, then it comes Inter Milan, for example, then you have likes of Man City, PSG, okay, so it's pretty much unfair for those clubs for the long run. Initially, yeah, they're happy to take the millions of dollars, 800 million, 400 million from just one tournament. Yeah, fine, for Madrid, Barca, and Man U. But if you see in the long term, after 5 years, don't you think so? It gives undue advantage for those clubs who doesn't have that many viewers, okay, but they're getting equal amount of viewership compared to Madrid, Barca, and Man United. So these 3 clubs minimum can bring up to viewers up to 1.2 billion active viewers. Minimum. Okay, and this numbers is coming from the social media accounts, like Real Madrid have 400, 300, Barca have 300, Man U have 300 overall on all social media. Okay, so and this is not even like we don't know, like this is like purely conservative number. So don't you think that this is unfair with the team with the highest fan following or viewership? For example, if for example, Man City gets into it or PSG gets into it, they don't have even close to the level of fan followers, or viewers compared to these three clubs. So what they're doing, they're getting undue advantage of that. So they're making equal amount of money compared to these three clubs. So in case of Real Madrid, right, why we should lose our advantage for a club who doesn't have backbone?
But then this is my response.
No, wait. Hey, but we're forgetting one thing, bro.
My response is,
Yeah.
in streaming, they have data of how many people view a TV program or a movie program. So you have everyone has a base revenue. Then you have a particular revenue sharing program, which is based on the amount of viewers your game has. And how many viewers your game has, that is then shared through. Based on
but not necessarily, bro, because you cannot get me the exact numbers from small clubs. This is the problem. For example, right, there is a match between Man United versus Real Madrid, or Barca versus Madrid, or Barca versus United. The viewership is going minimum billion, bro. So look at the advantage now. Club like Man City or PSG or Inter or Atletico, they don't have that many fans, but they are gaining the profit of those big clubs who's giving more viewers to the tournament than these four I just named. This is just a random four I just named.
No, let's just hear a bit from everyone, and then we can come back. Let's just everyone get their thoughts. So, Hazem, your thoughts, based also on a Super League.
Yeah, man. So obviously, as a Milan fan, I'll be very happy because they're putting Milan in there. So, we'll get more revenues. We'll get more. It'll be happy times. We'll be able to finally make some good transfers. But the problem is when you're bringing teams like Milan and United, at the beginning it's going to be quite uneven. Because even though the Milan United have huge fan bases, especially United, going to be bringing revenues into the matches, so it's going to be increasing revenues. But the level, it's still going to need time for these teams to reach the levels of the Real Madrids, the level of the Bayerns, and so forth. So it's going to be like the same teams winning for several years, I think. But at least at the top, it'll be interesting between the top teams. But I feel like the bottom will be the same constantly. So, yeah, in terms of that, it's going to be interesting. But I found it interesting that they put it in terms the clubs they choose are not about. It's not about their level. It's about how big the club is, like in terms of how much fans they have and how much history they have. I found that interesting. And I think many people will be disappointed because if you leave out teams that are doing that, I think Dortmund, for example, if they're going to be left out, and they're much higher level than United and AC Milan. So and to put them in the second league is a bit unfair, to be honest. And I don't know if it doesn't replace the is it going to replace the Champions League or not?
No, I have no idea. I have no idea.
Okay, so if it replaces the Champions League, then there's no point, to be honest.
Bro, it's like Champions League is dissolved for these 20 clubs.
So then the Champions League is just going to be between
small clubs. They're saying this for a small club.
Champions League would become Europa League. That's what would happen. Champions League would become Europa League.
I don't think we need that because the Champions League is good as it is, and we already have these big clubs coming up in the quarters and semis, and I don't think they should be given the free pass. It will make it less interesting. So I think if you put it instead of Champions League, it's not good. If you put it instead of the league for these clubs, then maybe it'll be more interesting. But I think then we'll just have two Champions Leagues, as if like, what will be the value of that? First of all, is it?
Wait, comment. Let me just say this. What I said. Atletico don't belong. Why not?
Because this guy's mad.
No,
This
big
guy's mad. Yeah.
Okay. So maybe because they're doing it because of the history and your brand and all that kind of crap.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
No, but we see, like, my thing is, like, look, I I wouldn't want this to replace the Champions League because the Champions League is one of the great competitions of all time. And
Exactly.
it's one of the great sporting competitions based on just the whole two-legged thing and home and away. It's an amazing competition. So I don't want to because of that. But see, the point I'm getting to is what is the alternative if football is becoming either a monopoly or a duopoly? Because I don't know why no one has an issue with one club winning a title for 10 years in a row. Because see, my thing is this is that FFP, do something. Let's spread the love around. Let's spread the
Yeah,
money.
it's just the problem with
Quality
FFP.
players.
FFP,
In 4-5 teams. Let's stop a Bayern stealing all the best players from Dortmund and Leverkusen. Let's
HH,
give more money to guys who are second, third, fourth, fifth.
yeah, HH. The problem with FFP is they're part of the problem that's going on now because all the clubs that want to go up and try and challenge the big clubs, they're not able to do that because of FFP. FFP just makes the rich clubs continue to be able to spend,
Spot on. Preach.
and the lower clubs and like Milan as well are not able to come back. Like a large reason is because of FFP, because when you're in that mid table or lower table, and then you're not making Champions League, you're not able to spend the money in order to go and compete with those big clubs because of FFP, because you're not earning enough. So then it's a vicious circle because everyone's going to be down there spending the same amount because of FFP, and all the big clubs are going to be spending the big amounts because they're already in the top level. So then that's the problem. FFP needs to somehow change, or I know they're trying to reduce fraud and I don't know, and clubs spending more than earning, but I think they need to at least reduce it and try and allow the smaller clubs to have more financial freedom, so that if someone with financial assets buys them, they're actually able to spend the money that they have. Like Man United, for example, have very rich owners, and I know they don't want to spend, but also they can't spend as much as they want. And same thing with Milan. Our owners are one of the richest in Europe, and we're not able to spend because of the FFP. So yes, I think FFP is a big problem.
Okay. Red, thoughts on a Super League.
No, thank you, please. It's just that it's just look. If we do a Super League, essentially you're relegating football to like the NBA. All you do by doing this is you acknowledge these 20 clubs as elites, and then everybody else is just it's gone. You'll never see another Leicester story ever again. You'll never see another Atletico Madrid 2014 story ever again. You essentially like this. The beautiful thing about football is that every country has different leagues. Now, yes, this past decade has been pretty bad, but that's only because a lot of teams are adjusting to the new money. The bigger clubs, of course, they have like a little bit of a head start. So you have teams like Juve, Bayern, Madrid, Barca, they'll thrive. But eventually, there will be a balance. Like once these clubs get their finances in place, the streaming deals start coming in, they'll start being able to compete and start being able to, the gap will get closer and closer and closer. We just have to go through this era right now. We have to win it. And plus, like even if you look at over the past, like, okay, the Bundesliga, I'm not going to defend the Bundesliga. It's kind of rough because every year's the same. But like with Serie A, at least you do get a title race. You do. You end up winning it, but there is always competition. Yeah. It goes to 90 points. It's not. It's something. So for me personally, I don't think there's a problem with current football. We have the Champions League, and like for domestic leagues, like it's a great opportunity for young talent to be able to develop and maybe go on to one of these big clubs, get a big move. Like for example, Mbappe. Mbappe started off in Ligue 1 in Monaco. And in nothing club, like not a nothing club. Monaco had a lot of money invested, but like not really one of the big giants. But we got to see an amazing story in 2016-17, and then he was able to go and move to PSG and win the World Cup with France and all this stuff. And now he's a global superstar and considered amongst the best in the world. You don't get to see that if you just have a Super League, because at that point nobody's gonna watch. It's like if you ask anybody in the NBA if they watch any other basketball around the world, they really don't, unless you're like a super
season. No one would have that because it's like an amazing story, and you won't have these stories anymore.
Exactly, and people only watch college basketball and college football, like, as in like American football and all this stuff, just so they could see the next the top of the draft.
So Red, so you're cool with even if it's the title race, Juve and Bayern winning their league every single year. You're cool.
Yeah, because like the thing is that the beautiful thing about football right now, like for football, for our sport, is we have so much content. Let's just say, for example, La Liga is over for me. Barcelona 20 points in the lead, like last season. What can I do? You know what? I'm gonna watch Serie A. I'm gonna see if Milan can make top 4. They got Piontek. He's a great player. You know what? I'll watch and see maybe what if Arsenal get it. Hey, Arsenal lost again. Let's watch AFTV. Let's just laugh at them crying. Like you get to like, oh, let me check to see if Lampard's gonna actually be able to do it with these youngsters. Let's see what they're up to. You get this. There's so many other narratives. Oh, are these guys gonna get relegated? They beat them. Like you also get the relegation versus the league leaders. You want to see that, or like in Liverpool's case, they flew with Liverpool. Everybody watched every Liverpool game because you wanted to see them lose for the first time. Like there's so many other narratives that you could have fun with and we could talk about. And hence, HH, for the even though football, Serie A and Bundesliga, they've been repetitive by having the same winners over the past 10 years. HH, your channel has had no shortage of content because there's so much available. If it was just a Super League,
no, Red, you're right. It's with the content, but the real thing is that whenever the interest is high is during the Champions League.
Exactly.
Because people already know that, Rio, HH, why are you covering Bayern against flipping Dortmund? We know what's going to happen. We're covering Bayern against Liverpool. We're going to happen. But whenever the Champions League comes, that's when I get my highest numbers, my highest feedback, because people know, okay, we generally don't know who's going to win.
One sec, Hazem. But those matches that we're all hyped for, those matches that we're all hyped for, are gonna lose their hype because exactly. Because like let's say for example, Bayern versus Real Madrid, that's the European Clasico, right? It's only fun because Madrid and Bayern meet each other every other couple of years, and then it makes it exciting. But if Madrid and Bayern were playing every month, every year, like 3-4 times, it's no longer important. It loses its prestige. And plus, when you, let's say for example, if you have
see, this is key. This is key because me and Daniel we looked at a chart. If you look at the amounts of TV money teams in the Premier League get, it is insane. It's insane. Why isn't it the same in La Liga, Bundesliga, and in other places as well?
Can I respond to that?
The English language.
It's clear.
No, actually, I want to respond for that. Yeah, the reason is that, like, wait. Premier League is like just 1 billion euros ahead of La Liga. So in the next 5-10 years, like situation might be like more closer because you can see La Liga players like the league is like getting the better players, and they're suffering now because of loss of Neymar and Ronaldo because that's like a very huge, viewership. So it's not that far compared to La Liga. It's like 1 billion euro. And second thing is like people say, oh, in La Liga, the shares for the clubs is like mostly Real Madrid, Barca, and Atleti because the viewership are for those 3 clubs. In Prem, you spread a lot, so between Chelsea, Man United, and all other big clubs. So that's the advantage for Prem compared to La Liga. That's why Prem, like Arsenal gets more money, same money as like Chelsea, for example, or Man City, for example.
Okay, so let me bring in Abdullahi. So Abdullahi, what are your thoughts on the Super League? Abdullahi.
Michich, for me, I think that's a no-no for me, please. When we have the Champions League, I don't know why you have the go picking. For me, that's a no-no. You want to kill those players? They have families, right? And they have after family, they have son. You're gonna be telling me I'm gonna be playing the German League, the Spanish League, and also the Champions League. Also, you're gonna put the Super League. Damn. These people just want to corrupt us. It's all about money, revenue, investment. Get the hell out of here, please. Just cancel this man. Cancel the Super League, please. Cancel it. It's all about money. They care about themselves. They don't even care about the people, about the players playing it. They only care about themselves. That's all about money. Because you can't have the Champions League and also have an Europa League and also those. Then you bring the Super League. Now tell me, if those small team doesn't have the money to fund themselves, or they don't have a lot of fans, you're gonna be telling me Real Madrid, Barcelona, and those teams you're telling me about, they're gonna have a lot of fun ahead of those small teams doesn't have a fun. That's like a shitting for me. So why you rather bring the Super League out? Why you don't even cancel it at all? Champions League is the most worst kind of competition in Europe at the moment. People are kind of get used to it already. We love the Champions League, the turn and everything. We don't know who's gonna win. This is gonna be like this. But you bring in Super League now. Tell me when you bring in Super League now. So how many teams is gonna compete? First, secondly, if those teams doesn't have the money, those big teams have, it's like a failure to them. Now you're telling me, Watford, Wolverhampton Wanderers, blah blah. They don't have the money. In which United, Bayern Munich, Chelsea, Real Madrid has, but those
Chelsea.
teams.
Yeah, leave Chelsea alone.
So we are bringing out Super League just to have money and just like I need money. I want revenue. I want this. No, I'm sorry. They need to cancel those leagues. I don't even know why they put it like first.
Okay. So we look. Again, look. This is something that will come up and down and everything. But my whole thing about it is I don't want it because I still want the Champions League. But guys, money talks. And all I'm saying is that we could be living in a very different world and situation in about 5 years' time or so. Guys, be swell, be real good. It's been a long day for me, but I will see you guys hopefully next week. And also, let me just say with this, I've been sent videos of hazard training. I've seen footage of hazard training.
Relax, bro.
Next Sunday, we're having a meal. So because I'm gonna do like a watch along.
HH. I beg you.
I've seen footage of Zad training because I am sick and tired of the insults. If Zad comes back and drops a few G's, I am going to have a feast. Guys, stay true, stay real, and I'll see you guys at the
Take care. Baresi is number one.
Become a Football Hut member and gain access to cool emojis on the live
Take care,
streams
guys. Take care.
and get access to new YouTube content by clicking the join button here. And to view that new content, head over to the YouTube channel homepage and click on the community tab over here.
Man, HH is you're gonna jinx Hazard.